Hey guys, what's going on? Hope you're all having a fantastic day. For today's video, I wanted to go over the best ways to make platinum in Warframe. I do want to preface this by saying these are my own personal opinions about what's best. So if you have your own ways of making some plat, don't be afraid to incorporate that into what I'm showing you here. So without further ado, I'm going to break down getting platinum into 3 pieces. I'll provide timestamps for each in the description of this video. So if you're looking for help on one specific element of getting platinum, check below. First is trading. How to trade, where to trade, and how to contact people in-game. Second, I'm going to be going over what to trade, where you can acquire the items, and where you're going to see the most platinum for your time spent. And finally, I'll go over the big ticket items and my thoughts on when and how to trade them. So, trading. Most people's first experience with trading is probably trade chat. Look at it. A whole bunch of people spamming as many items as they can every 2 minutes, hoping that someone will need one of the items and whisper them. If you don't know what exactly you want to trade, avoid this like the plague. Trade chat is in general a horrible way to find buyers, but I do use it in certain scenarios, and I'll go into that more in the third part of this video. The next most obvious place to trade is in Maroo's Bazaar. This is essentially a public zone where people can post their own shops and trade 5 items at a time. Look at all these people. They're sitting there with their game open, hoping that somebody will come in and need one of the items that they have posted. As you can see, it's hard to even read some of the items from a distance, and some of the players aren't even loaded in on my screen. And when you do set up your own shop, you basically look like a student waiting to be called on by the teacher. That teacher is never going to call on you, and it's just a waste of your time. Between this and trade chat, you're not going to be able to advertise enough items to start making a lot of platinum.
I pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
What you want to be doing is using external sites like Warframe.Market. This site allows you to post tens of items that you have in-game all at once for anybody to see and then message you. All you need to do is create an account and post the items. And I'll be going into that in a little bit. But as you can see, this works for PC, PS4, or Xbox. I personally only have experience with the PC version, but if you're using PS4 or Xbox, you can still use this site for those platforms as well. All you have to do is sign into your account. You can log in through Steam or Xbox as well. And once you've logged in, you can start buying and selling items on Warframe. As you can see, when I go to my profile, I have a whole bunch of items that I want to sell and a couple that I want to buy. My current buy orders are for Rivens, and these aren't serious prices. I would need to increase my offer if I wanted people to whisper me about Rivens. But you can list up to 100 items, and almost everything tradable on Warframe is tradable here. The primary items you're going to sell are mods, prime parts, and arcanes. Let's look at how to list your own items. So let's say you've been farming some relics in-game and have extra Mirage prime parts. You can search those parts on the market. Let's take a look at the full Mirage Prime set. So when you click on this, it'll show what people are selling the full set at. You can change from buyers and sellers. So people are trying to buy it at 30 platinum, and people are selling it at 40 at the minimum. When looking at this, you can change from all to on-site to in-game. Currently I have mine set to all because it shows the online in-game people first. This site will show what people are asking for it, as well as the number of items that they are trying to sell. It's important that you look at the people who are online in-game, since these are the only items that are actually for sale. If you were to look at the offline people, oftentimes there are much lower prices, but this is not the real market. The real market are the people who are online and in-game. So here we have one person for 40, and then it jumps all the way up to 48 platinum. So if I had a Mirage Prime set I wanted to sell, I would make sure that the want to sell is highlighted. I'd put in my price. So for this I would say maybe 45, and let's say I have one, and I would hit post. So it says my order has been placed, which means that if I were to change my status from invisible to online in game, I would show up in between these 2 players. Right now I have mine set to international English, but there's also Russia, Korea, and France if you're trading on a different region. Now let's say instead of trying to sell a Mirage Prime set, you wanted to buy one. You have 2 options available to you. you can hit the little chat window, which opens this chat for the site itself. For PC players, you have a better option than this, which I'll show in a second. But to initiate the trade, you would simply type out your message and click send if you wanted to buy this item. Now for PC players, you definitely don't want to message on the site itself. What you want to do is click the second option, which then brings up a copy paste that you can copy from the site and paste in game. When you paste this, it will automatically whisper the seller this message. Sometimes the first few people on the list with the lowest prices might not actually be online in game. The reason for this is that you have to do it manually on this external site. So oftentimes there will be people who have forgotten to log out. I've definitely done this myself a few times, and I always feel bad when I realize this has happened. It's just something that happens occasionally. So try not to be too angry with people if they're not actually online in-game. Some of the other functions on the site allow you to see things like your overall statistics. So for me, this says I've received 4,600 platinum, and I've spent about 650. Now how is this tracked, you might ask? It's tracked manually through your orders. So whenever you post an item and it shows up in your profile, you can then scroll down and manage that item. Let's say if we go to edit, I could increase this to 48 and keep the quantity, or I could simply click this button and set it to invisible. This means that it will no longer show up on the market when I go online. The other thing you can do after you've sold an item is click the sold button. Now, when you click the sold button, the site counts the amount of platinum you claim you've just sold to another person, which will then alter the total platinum you've received on the site. Now, clearly, I did not just sell a Mirage Prime set, but my platinum count increased all the same. My point being with this is that these statistics are essentially for you personally, and you shouldn't exactly be trusting the overall statistics on this site. But as you see, as I scroll down, it shows my sales and my purchases, which makes this a very useful tool. Now let's go over how to create an account. Once you get on the site, simply hit the sign in button and then go to register. Type in your information here. Once you finish that, you will then see this screen with your own personalized code. Follow the link to the forums and simply copy paste your code. It's as simple as that, and you'll be trading in no time. Now, once you start listing your items on Warframe.Market, people will message you in-game looking to buy those items. This means that you can run missions and play the game normally while passively earning wealth. Typically, the way this works is someone will message you with a copy-paste message from Warframe.Market. You can then respond to them and say, hey, one sec, I'm in a mission, would you mind waiting? Or say, sure, one sec, and then invite them to a group. So here I was AFK, and two people had messaged me. One wanted to sell me a rifle ribbon, and the other wanted to buy my Malignant Force. I simply confirmed that they both still wanted to trade, and then invited them to my party. Both of these trades came from Warframe.Market, even though the first one didn't copy-paste the message. And you'll definitely run into that sometimes where people don't copy-paste. Here I tabbed out just to double check my price. It's always good to double check that the trade is what you wanted.
Show me the money.
Trading's pretty simple overall once you know how to do it. And it's nice to say thanks after you complete a transaction. Here is me selling a mod. And that's generally what trading looks like in Warframe. You want to do this in the clan dojo if possible, but if you don't have access to a dojo, you can always ask the other person to invite you, or try trading in a public place like Maroo's Bazaar. But I hope these two examples have given you a good idea of what trading's like in Warframe, and now I'm going to talk about what items you should be looking to sell. Alright, so when selling items in Warframe, you really want two things. You want the items to be easy to sell, and you want them to be worth your time. I'm going to go over 3 ways that I personally make my platinum. The first of which is selling your Syndicate mods. Once you've maxed out your Syndicate, you then have access to all of the Warframe mods. This means that you can purchase mods like Chromatic Blade from your Syndicate rep and sell them on the market. I use Chromatic Blade as an example because lots of people want that augment, making it very easy to sell. I would suggest looking through what you have available to you and seeing what their prices are on the market. These prices tend to fluctuate a little bit, but on PC, you should be looking to get roughly 15 to 20 platinum a piece for these. You can also try to sell Arcwing weapon parts, but those take much longer to sell. And never waste your standing on the weapons. The next thing you can do is go to the Void and do missions like Aten, Mithra, or Mott that spawn Corrupted Vor. The reason this is good is Corrupted Vor has a good chance to drop dual mods that are worth roughly 8 plat a piece. Just a little back in the video, I sold one for 8 platinum. So if you join one of these missions and wait for Vor to show up, you can just rinse repeat and get about 8 plat every 10 minutes. And last but not least, run fissure missions. The more fissure missions you run, the better chance you have of getting rare prime parts to sell. The most expensive parts will always come from the Axii fissures, because the Axii relics are harder to obtain. And you can always run rad shares with people in recruit chat. Rad shares are when everyone in a group runs the same radiant relic to have a higher chance of getting the rare. Running Axii rad shares are a good way to make quick platinum, but those are the 3 methods I'd recommend. Selling your prime parts, selling your Syndicate mods, and farming Corrupted Vor in the Void. If you're a new player just starting out, don't be afraid to sell some of your prime parts for smaller amounts of platinum just to get more weapons and Warframe slots. You can always farm them again later. And the more research you do on what is worth platinum, the more likely you are to make a profit. The bulk of my platinum comes from trades like these, not necessarily the big, expensive trades. But since we're on the topic, let's go over what expensive items you should be looking to sell. The easiest answer is Rivens. Rivens can be bought, re-rolled, and then sold for a high profit. This is where trade chat can come in handy. You simply type in a keyword like Riven, hit add, and now only Rivens will show. If you want a specific Riven, you can always type in that weapon's name. But again, I'd really only suggest using trade chat when you know what you're looking for. And on the topic of Rivens, you should always be doing your daily sortie. Rivens are one of the most common rewards from sorties, and you'll get them more often than not. You should try to do your sortie every day for a chance at good Rivens that you can either re-roll or sell as is. There is a Riven site like Warframe.Market called Riven.Market. This site is definitely not as polished, but if you want to sell Rivens without the headache of trade chat, then this is a good option. The other thing you can be doing is going to Cetus during the night cycle and doing the Eidolon capture bounties. These are good sources of platinum because you can get arcane rewards. You want to make sure you're doing the 3 cap to give a chance at arcanes like Energize and Grace. These can sell for a couple hundred platinum a piece on the market. And finally, Prime mods. Prime mods are sold by Baro Katir, who shows up every 2 weeks on a random relay. His inventory is always different, but if he shows up with a good Prime mod, you can then buy an extra copy and then wait to sell it on the market. This same principle can be applied to Prime parts, especially those that are vaulted. A vaulted item means that it can no longer drop from relics in-game. Every time a new Prime Access comes out, one of the previous Warframes and some of the weapons go into the vault. You can check for a list of these parts on the wiki. And if you farm pieces for a Warframe like Vauban, who just entered the vault recently, you can then hold on to these parts and they will continue to gain value. You might want to sell them initially,
but no touching.
The longer you wait, the higher the price will climb. However, please be aware that sometimes DE releases items from the vault and puts them back into the game, which does lower the price a bit. But that's going to do it for this video. My hope is that this guide helps both people who might be struggling getting their first platinum, as well as experienced veterans. And there's no way for me to cover everything in one video, so if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. If you did find this helpful, please do leave a like and subscribe for future content.